and then click the little X in the upper corner, upper left or upper right, whatever it is, and it goes away on that device, but it doesn't go away from the other. I know, let me explain. But it doesn't go away from your other devices, and it doesn't go away from your account in the App Store. In order to get rid of it there, you've got to go in the App Store and do something. I think iBooks works in a similar fashion, in that I think you have to do it in iBook in the store part of the thing. And now how you do it, I can't tell you off the top of my head, but I think that's where you go. You have to delete it from the store first, or, well, not necessarily first, but you have to delete it both places. In the case of the books, you got to delete it from the store, and then it either disappears from your library, or it's there maybe with a cloud symbol or something, and you should be able to get rid of it. Otherwise, I'm at a loss to help you. So, okay, Diana. Get microphone.
My question is asked not for me, but on behalf of my son,
Okay.
who is primarily a PC Windows guy, but has an iPhone.
Okay.
And he recently upgraded to the latest operating system on the iPhone. And I told him about the thing where you can block calls from unknown numbers. So he wanted to try that. And then he decided that the program that he already has called RoboKiller, that he wanted to get rid of that. And he found out that he couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. When he tried the usual way of pressing the icon and looking for the X, it never appeared. And so he was wondering if something has changed in the latest operating system about how to delete things. We finally ended up going into utilities to that software's controls and simply shutting off all the buttons. Hopefully then it won't operate, but he wants to get rid of it and he doesn't know how.
I'm not sure. It may have changed. Yes, Alan?
He's in iOS 13.
I think so, yeah.
That's the latest, 13 point whatever.
Okay. Oh, you don't have.
I think they may have changed time.
They did change it.
Yeah.
But previously, you would just touch the icon of the app you want to
Right,
delete.
yeah.
Now, you have to touch the icon of the app I just screwed that up. You want to touch the icon of the app you want to delete. And a little box comes up that says, share the app or rearrange. Rearrange is counterintuitive, but you touch rearrange, and then you get the little X in the lovely icon.
All right.
Apple didn't tell you that they changed it. They didn't tell you how to find it. You had to explore and figure it
Right,
out.
the old way, one way
You
was,
saw share.
the old
You
way,
didn't want to
No,
share it.
not share, but press
And
the
he
other one.
was frustrated about
Press
that.
the rearrange.
okay, so for the benefit of everybody else in the room besides you two, the old way was, one way to get to it was you press and hold the home button, right? And then you get the little X in the upper, is it left corner?
Yeah.
And on all your apps, all the ones that are deletable. And then you just click the X on any one that you want to delete, and it was gone.
Yeah,
But the new way is you press and hold on the app, is that right, Alan?
You press the app lightly for a moment.
Lightly,
Then you get a little window
top of box.
that says share, followed by the name of the app. And the second option is rearrange the apps.
Rearrange.
Rearrange is counterintuitive. It doesn't say
Right.
delete, but
Right.
within the rearrange is delete.
Yeah, it should say rearrange or delete, but for some reason it just says rearrange. And
Yeah.
the old way of doing it, indeed, when you press and hold the home key, you could rearrange them.
Yeah.
So that those two functions, even in the old way, were combined in the same, you would access them the same way. So you're still accessing them the same way, it's just that that's a different way now. Okay, so Diana, you understand enough to
Yeah,
help you?
sure.
Okay, all right. Anybody, yes,
I'll ask,
Ron,
I'll follow up with another phone question.
wait for the microphone. Okay,
I'll follow up with another phone question. I did have the latest iOS on the phone, but now when I accessed a document through mail, every time I open mail, that same document pops up. So how do I prevent that from popping up every time?
I don't know. I have not seen this. And you have to realize that I never, ever have used the Apple Mail app on any iOS device. I do it on my Mac exclusively, and I want to keep it that way. That's just my personal preference. I know that a lot of you like the convenience of being able to take your mail with you on your phone and use it wherever you want. I don't want or need to do that, so I just do it on my Mac. But I'm sure there must be a way around.
Is that a notification issue?
No, it's just,
I didn't understand the problem. Could you repeat the problem?
He opens a document in Mail, and then he can't stop it from opening when he relaunches Mail in the future. Is that?
that's what was happening.
He goes in the Mail, opens a document
You
from
mean-
within a Mail message.
Yes,
But is it an attachment then, or?
it wasn't attached.
Okay, it was an attachment. So he opens a Mail attachment in the Mail app on his iOS device, his phone. And from then on, and he closes the document, closes Mail, comes back, a day later or something,
And
or at a future time. And when he launches Mail without doing anything else, that document opens again.
yes,
That's
what
the
was
problem.
happening.
Why does it open and how do you stop it?
Okay, there's a feature that you can turn off or on, load all documents that's connected to Mail. The idea is that if there are attachments in Mail and you're on cellular and somebody sends you a 1 gig photo, you don't want to open that while you're on cellular. Also, perhaps even a better reason, if somebody sends you junk mail, if you open an attachment, it says, "Hey, I read your mail." And I don't like to tell a spammer that I read their mail. So I have turned off the feature of loading all attachments automatically.
Alan, is that in settings under Mail?
I'm looking for it right now.
I'll bet it's in settings.
I'm looking
Ron.
at
Have you looked
settings.
under Mail in the settings app?
No, I looked at, I looked
Ron,
under Mail, but I didn't find it.
Yeah. I'm asking Ron, have you looked?
no,
Okay, well, that would be the first place. If you don't see it in the app, the next place to go on iOS devices
But that's,
would be in the settings
I'm
app.
looking
And
in
then
the
under
settings
that,
app under Mail and I don't see it. Oh, here we go. I did find it. Go to settings.
Alan, you want to put it on see if you can put it on the TV with Apple.
With
AirPlay or, no.
It's not set up.
with AirPlay.
It's plugged in.
Screen mirroring or
Yeah, screen sharing.
screen? Hi, Apple TV. That looks like
That's,
the right
that's
one.
it.
Okay,
Wonderful.
AirPlay code. Enter the on-screen code. Is there a code on the screen?
I think it has to come back.
It has to boot up or something,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, but I think this will solve the problem.
Okay.
I mean, I'm on the latest iOS. I don't have that problem and I have automatic loading of attachments turned
Turned
off.
off in the settings under Mail. So you go to settings
And
and
if I,
then you scroll down the big long list to
Yes.
get to Mail.
yes,
load
Click
remote.
on or touch on Mail and then you find that thing and turn it off.
What is it?
I'm looking
It
for.
says open all
AirPlay
attachments.
code.
What's it called? Open all attachments or something?
Well, I can actually demonstrate it if I can hook up to this.
Yeah, the screen just needs to be,
It takes
yeah,
a
it
while.
needs to reload.
It
Ah.
looks like it was off. It just turned on.
Thanks, Dale.
It had to warm up. Thank you, Vizio.
Our Vizio at
This would
home
be a
is
problem.
similar.
A lot of people, yeah.
Our Vizios take their smart TVs and they'll just come right on. They boot up like a computer because they are a computer. Unfortunately, that means it takes longer. A few seconds.
No signal, no signal.
Well,
I'm looking for
See
a,
if you can connect to it now. Maybe it'll.
no, I need a code number from the screen to
Yeah, I know,
plug into my phone.
Yes.
No signal. Watch your step.
We need the TV remote, and that's in the box.
Well, okay, yeah. Absent that. Proceed to. Should I just describe it?
Yeah, I think maybe he doesn't have the latest operating system.
Are you on iOS 13?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Just do it.
Here, go to settings,
Mhm.
the settings app. In the settings app, go down, 1, 2, 3, for the fifth section, the section that starts passwords and accounts.
Yes.
Right after that is mail.
Okay,
Go to mail.
Maybe
In mail, go down to. Okay, go down to the section that starts messages. It says messages in a gray bar. Under messages, there's two things: ask before deleting and load remote images. You see load
Yes.
remote images? Is that turned on?
yes,
Turn it off.
okay,
So,
That should probably solve the problem.
that sounds
Thank
like.
you.
No guarantees, but I'm reasonably confident.
yeah, there you go.
Okay,
That's good.
Problem solving. Here you go. Could you hand that mic to Gabe, please?
okay, who's next? Gabe?
I'm looking at, back on my question, I'm looking at bookstore
Yes.
and see no way to delete anything from my account. I see lots of sections where I can find new books, but I see nothing about my account where I can delete books. I'm doing that on the
As I
iPad.
recall, when you delete music in iTunes, of course, the latest version on the Mac is Catalina, and they did away with iTunes, split those functions out. But for a moment, let's talk about pre-Catalina. Mac OS.
Let's talk about the iOS 13.
All right, let me get to that. So it seems like when I wanted to delete music, I would do it on the Mac side, not on the iOS side, and delete it from within iTunes on the Mac. And then I don't know if it automatically went away or what. But,
I don't have a Mac. I have
know,
to do
but-
this on iOS or iPad.
right, but you
OS.
should still be able, you may have to go, all right. How do you,
Bruce, while you're collecting your thoughts, Lawrence Charters is actually watching the streaming, and one of the things he said was, it was so funny, it's fascinating that when you talk about settings on an iOS device, everyone's head bows in prayer.
good one, Lawrence. Okay, I know you don't have a Mac, Gabe, but I don't know, how do you, well, you have to have an Apple ID and an account, right?
Right.
Do you access that solely on your iOS
On my
devices?
2 mobile devices, that's right.
Okay, but not on iTunes for Windows.
I don't touch iTunes.
Okay, I know I know your feelings about iTunes for Windows from the
The
past.
question
but
is whether this can be done natively on a mobile device.
There ought to be a way. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
The only thing I could suggest that you try, Gabe, is on your one of your mobile devices. If you have an iPad with a bigger screen, use that because it's easier. Go to the web browser, Safari, for example, and then log into your Apple ID there, with your Apple ID there, and see if you can find a way there. Although I don't know, I still don't think you can get to it that way, but I don't know. I'm sure there must be a way. I just don't know it. So
Could somebody that has
it's
an
too
Apple
bad.
laptop try it?
Roy
on
isn't
books?
here, and we're getting so many
I
hours.
think I did it for my Mac.
Hmm?
Yeah, I don't have the mic.
Have you tried different things like pressing and holding on the book icon?
If I'm looking at the bookstore, I don't see the books I have. I only see all the other books. On the bookstore, I don't see
Oh, okay, but
my
if you
bookshelf.
go to the books app,
I'm in the books app.
okay, and go to the tab where you see the books you bought or downloaded for free.
Right, that's where it lets me hide them, but not delete them.
Right, but have you tried
Bruce.
on that screen, touching and holding on one of the books to see if it brings up something that you can delete it? There ought to be a way to delete them.
Bruce, Alan has
Oh,
something to
yeah.
add to this. Alan?
Okay, this is a very old question. I had the same problem, I think, for several years. I was unable to delete, but I could hide. And I found that rather obnoxious.
Yes.
Somebody suggested going to the iBooks on my Mac. And I'm looking at my iPad right now. I don't have a Mac with me. On my iPad, the old ones are either hidden or deleted. I can't remember what action I took. but there's somebody here with a Mac in front of them, able to go into iBooks and see whether or not there's a delete feature.
I know we could do,
Rather than tell us to do it at home, and those of us that don't have a Mac at home, it makes it even more difficult.
that might not help Gabe,
Well, it
but
may not, but it may
it
verify.
may lead to a solution for Gabe.
If Apple gave a solution that only works on the Mac and doesn't work on the iOS devices, hey, Gabe won't be happy, but you may have to live with
Well,
it.
I actually have a for emergency use only Mac that I could dust off, recharge,
Well,
turn on and try it, but that's just counterintuitive to the flexibility and power of mobile devices.
I agree, but there are other there are other Apple issues that work on a Mac and don't work on an iOS device. This will not be the only one. There are some features in Calendar that only work on a Mac, don't work on the iOS device. The Mac version is more powerful. Apple never got around to porting them to iOS. I don't know if or when they'll ever do it. It's not a good answer, but it may be the only answer.
I would have to agree with that in my experience with the calendar app. There are some things you could do on the Mac version and can't do in the mobile version, even though they're synced and everything is there in both
They are
places.
saying, Bruce, you have a Mac in front of you.
Yeah,
Did you have books in your iBook?
well, I don't know, this is, Jonathan, is this your Mac or the cloud's?
That's mine.
Okay.
So I might have some books in
Do
it.
you have books? Well, go and look and see if the delete option is in there. If it is, that's the answer to how some of us have resolved it. It's not going to help you, Gabe, unless you dust off the other one.
I don't know.
Just cancel out of that.
Bring it in.
Coffee's speaking.
All right, let's take one here.
Okay, here I'm in books, and I go to library, and I go to collections, and I hit books, and a minute ago, let's see, it was in edit.
Oh, edit.
It was, I had it a second ago.
If you go to library and edit, your old versions are still there. You can touch the little circle.
Okay, you go to finish, okay. Under, so go to
This
collections,
one's old.
then go to books, then go to finish. You see finish, right, where you
Collections, books,
finish reading a book. So.
But you're doing this on a phone, right, or a mobile device?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it. I found remove from collection.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, under finish,
Under what?
finish. In other words, if you finish reading it, then below the
Well-
word finish, it also has three dots, and you press.
Okay, I don't see that in the Mac version, but,
One,
or maybe I have to select the book first, but still.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. Okay, under the book. Yeah, on the iOS, go to on the bottom of the screen, it says reading now and then library. Select library. Then select
Oh,
the
there we
book
go.
that you wish to delete. No, excuse me, wrong response. Select in library from the bottom list of menus, then go to the upper right-hand corner and select edit. Then select the book you want to delete. There's a small circle in the lower right-hand corner. Touch the circle, you'll have a check mark. Then, what did we?
Then down in the lower left, there's
Then
actually
in
a
the lower
trash.
left is a trash can. Remove, and you have a choice, remove the download or hide the book. I don't remember that remove download was here before, but whatever, let me try. I have an old iPad guide that I don't want anymore for iOS 12. I'm gonna click delete. I know I said remove, no, it removed it. What it did is it removed it from my iPad, but the picture of the old manual from iOS 12 is still there, but it's no longer on my iPad. What I have is a little cloud symbol so that I can download it over the internet.
That means you don't have it on that device, but it is in
It's
your account.
in my account. I have not deleted it from my account.
That's why I was thinking, Gabe, maybe you could log in
No,
in a
found it,
browser. but-
found it in following that navigation.
Okay, but it gets it off of your storage on your iPad, but it doesn't get it out of your account. And I,
I'm clicking remove from collection, so I'm assuming that makes it go away.
well.
Navigating here in a different way, I see remove and hide. When I click remove, it goes poof and disappears.
Well, I said remove, and then I clicked it, and then it gave me an option to hide the book. But I think it's still in my account.
It is in your account. Everything you ever buy from Apple, from the App Store, the bookstore, the iTunes Store, they're on your account forever.
So if there's
They
any
never go
book that's
away.
going to embarrass
Take
you in
the-
the future,
take the-
never
device.
download it to begin with. You know,
Once you bought
go
it,
to your public
it's there.
library and you can read all the books you want that might embarrass you.
2 years old.
Thanks, Alan.
So on the Mac side, you just go in here and at least in this version, which is one, it's not Catalina, it's
Mojave.
Big Mojave is on here.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's probably not changed anytime recently. So you go in the Books app, which we're in, you click on a book you want to delete or multiple select if you want to delete more than one. And you see I've got this first one, Earth, deleted. I'm not going to delete it because this is Jonathan's personal computer, but if you go over here to edit, on the menus, you can see there's a choice for delete. And then it asks you, are you sure? And I'd say delete, and it would be gone from this device, but not from your account. So anyway, so there's a little bit of difference between the iOS and Mac versions. Okay, I think that's,
Thanks,
I hope that's
thanks for that
enough
question,
about
Gabe.
books. Did that, you get your question finally worked out. All right, okay, next question, Mac or iOS? Too bad Ryan's not here. He probably could have answered a lot of this stuff off of his.
Ron?
I'll ask another question.
We got Alan here who's doing a good job helping the iOS stuff too. Yes, well, wait.
While we're waiting for that, I wanted to let everyone know that we are now live streaming this to the Pies YouTube channel, and that's how Lawrence made his comment.
Yeah.
So hopefully, before the Q&A is finished, we'll have a question from the ether world, so to speak.
Okay, any general advice for carrying an iPhone out of the country and back in?
Jonathan's
Back in
probably-
is
I can talk about that just from my own experience.
Things like SIM cards.
It
and that
used to
kind
be that because we're on Verizon Wireless, I paid Verizon to have roaming capability when we traveled. And what I found was that the cellular connectivity was good, but the data was always very expensive and not very robust. For the last 2 years, we have actually used a SIM card that is from an English cellular company that very inexpensively gives you as much data as you could ever use. And what we found is that while it was in England, it had no trouble doing roaming in Vienna when we were there, or in Budapest when we landed there.
And both the data and the voice worked fine.
That's before Brexit.
So, huh?
Before Brexit.
And it was not overly expensive.
I don't know if the data break will be as bad as the break in every other way. We'll have to see.
So
Jim?
how was
an opinion.
Oh,
I was just
hold on a second, Jim.
in France,
Hold on a second, Jim.
and I got the thing that you got, which costs, if you use it on a day, they charge you $10.
Mm-hmm.
I got for my wife and myself.
Mhm.
Worked pretty well, except for people, for the Swedes and the French. This was a 80th birthday party for my Swedish cousin who lives in France. But her partner had his phone number was from Croatia, and we never were able to connect. With everybody else, both of my family and neighbors on, we connected just fine. And they charged, to use it on a day that it cost you $10. Data, I didn't notice any real change. I mean, I guess I paid for it, but I don't think it was a lot of money compared to the cost of going to France.
I just wanted to ask Jonathan how the rates compare to, paying Verizon for roaming sounds expensive on the face of it. How is it doing it with this other SIM card?
Using the SIM card, it was a flat fee that I think was British pounds that was for a month of unlimited cellular, unlimited texting, and I think 11 gigabytes of data.
A month like June or a month like 30 days?
I think it was 30 days that easily encompassed the time we were going to be
So it
away.
started whenever you-
So let me just add one thing. The one thing to be aware of when you do this is that messaging to your domestic cellular phone won't work when you're using this SIM.
It worked for you.
But with
Verizon
Jim's
messaging
with
was
Jim's
fine.
operation of using the Verizon, meaning not changing the account, you wouldn't have that issue.
The other thing that worked really well was the map function. 'Cause we were about 100 miles east of Paris. So we went up to a museum, we went on a canal boat, they live on a boat. We went on a canal, we went to a World War I museum, and drove there. And the map function, and even in the little town we were staying in, the map function was able to work just like it worked here. Which is very handy if you're on that kind of trip.
Okay,
We
who
have a question.
originally asked this?
Jonathan, I was just in England and I think it was nearly £100 for a month. So maybe, I don't know when you got the £15 rate, but maybe it's Brexit already.
What was the name of the-
The name of the company was 3.com was the company that we used. And this was the second year that we actually did that, used that SIM from 3.com. It was, I think I originally found them on Amazon because it was the one company that was willing to send a SIM card to us in the US.
That's interesting. If you wait till you get to the airport, then it's obviously much more expensive. There's only one choice.
Exactly. Yeah. What we ended up doing was, I've kind of gotten accustomed to this, is what my wife Linda called electronics surgery, which is on the plane. What we would do is turn the phones off, replace the SIM cards, and then turn them on the next morning when we arrived. And of course, the funny thing is, when we were on our way back, I had done this, on the tray with a towel, something, that would be very, very stable. And with my wife's phone, when I pushed the little tool in to open the SIM card tray, the SIM card popped out onto the floor
In the airplane.
on the airplane. Now, the blessing was that it landed gold side up, so it was actually easy to see and we could retrieve it, but it was just a joke. After going to all this effort of how we would do it, anyway.
So that's what your wife calls electronic surgery.
Yes.
That's what she was.
Use a plastic bag.
Okay,
Yeah, it worked.
other questions?
How about security with the
Security.
phone, crossing the international boundaries?
I don't know that it's,
That was my point.
in general, I don't know if there's any difference. Yeah, the
Can I
iPhone and iPad are very secure to begin with.
let me
Most of it, a lot of the security is inherent in the device, so that doesn't change no matter where in the world you take it. But other things might.
let me quickly relate. Lawrence actually says, I wandered around the UK and Ireland quite nicely using just my AT&T account. I did have to tell AT&T to set it up before leaving and remember to turn off the international feature when returning. It's a bit more complicated with Verizon because Verizon uses a proprietary radio system. And Lawrence says, echoing, Brexit, by the way, will screw everything up. One thing that, from Ron, from your comment about security, what's always true is if you're setting up a new account, like we did with 3.com on the web, use a random long password that you're not using anywhere else. This brings us back to the password managers and
I mean, you're talking about the overseas wireless carrier
correct.
with a new account you're setting up with them.
Right.
Use a new long password you're not going to use anywhere else. You need,
In other words, to use the practice that you would use in the States and be
that's a
careful.
good thing to do regardless of where you put in that password, not to reuse the same password from one place to another, whether it's one web account or one mobile phone or even your gym locker, whatever. Don't
Sure.
reuse stuff.
Just a question on the SIMs. I wonder if anyone has used a dual SIM phone where there's one physical SIM and one electronic SIM, and how that would work traveling overseas, because it would seem that way you could preserve the identity of your home account, not do surgery on the airplane, and maybe download an electronic SIM from one of the overseas carriers.
Good question. I don't know that one.
Has anybody had experience with that yet? That's with the new phones, right? Had
Right,
that.
yeah. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, yeah.
Yeah. Any other Mac or iOS questions? Right, Ralph, excuse me. Ralph.
Well, I'm now totally on Catalina on all my computers. My wife's still, I see, no.
Can you speak a little louder, please?
When I was on Mojave, my watch worked to unlock my Mac.
Your what?
My watch
Yes,
worked to unlock my Mac
okay.
as you approach your Mac. Now, if you reboot, you have to type in your password. That all worked just fine in Mojave. When I went to Catalina, it stopped working. I read all the documentation and got on the phone with Apple support. Very nice. And after 2 hours, we discovered that it just won't work, and Apple knows about it. And they said a fix is coming.
You know,
Stay tuned.
the only thing I can say is the more I see about Catalina, the more I think people should hold off on upgrading to it. It's just got a lot of bugs and other problems. And not the least of which is that some of your old software is not going to run anymore. And unless you know that and you can live without it, you're going to be in for a nasty surprise if you just go out and upgrade without checking ahead of time. And all of a sudden something doesn't work that you wanted to.
Could you explain again? what
I
it
did
is
do
didn't
that.
work with him? Could you tell us what didn't work? That he, because I couldn't hear.
Okay,
What's the
the
gist
way
of
it was before Catalina, if you have an Apple Watch and a Mac, you could use your Apple Watch to unlock your Mac as an alternative to entering the password, right?
Mhm.
And it all worked fine. And you didn't have to do anything special, just be close to it,
Oh,
right?
you just walked up to it.
Just
your
walk up
machine
to it.
said, "I
If your
know
watch
it's
was
you."
in proximity
It's
to your
beautiful.
Mac, it would unlock it automatically. Beautiful, easy. That quit working so far in Catalina, at least for Ralph.
Mine works.
And he says Apple, when he called, said they know about it. It's apparently a known bug or problem. So
So he says it works.
Mine works in Catalina.
Bruce,
Ralph,
Bruce, stop.
Ralph,
Catalina is a beautiful system. I love it. And
Well,
there's so many new features.
yes, I know, but there, and maybe you won't have any problems that you just pointed out when you had, but
I checked out everything before I logged
Okay.
on. I backed up my computer.
right.
I did everything according to the book. It is a time-consuming process.
Yes, it is.
I had problems. I talked to Jim about them and gave him some tips on things that I had problems. And not everyone has the same problems. But the advantage of going to Catalina is the immense number of new, beautiful features, and I want to start using them. And it's a learning process. It will take a few months to
Well,
learn.
I mean, yes, if you're willing to live with the bugs and problems, fine. Just be aware of what you're getting into. It's not like previous major Mac operating system upgrades that were relatively painless and relatively trouble-free, except for a few minor bugs here and there that Apple fixed rather quickly. It's not like that. It's worse.
Bruce, let me just suggest that in the coming months, we'll do a Q&A about Catalina that Ralph will sit at the table and.
All I'm saying is know what you're getting into.
We heard that.
Unless you're
We
willing
heard
to
that.
Deal with problems like this, wait a little bit. Don't jump in just yet. I'm not saying never do it. I'm just saying it's a little soon for them to get up to speed fixing all these problems and bugs.
Sure. If I can just very quickly,
Yeah,
on the issue that that was raised about that Gabe raised, Lauren says most overseas phone services have no idea how to use the electronic SIMs yet.
it's just too new.
Yeah, it's too new.
So, who knows? But if
We have
you're
time
planning
for-
a trip.
We have time for one more question.
Well, wait a minute. I just wanted, this is important, I think. Let's go to. All right, this is. All right. Here we are on the website of Take Control Books. Jim, I know you know about this, and Ralph, you know about this, and some of the others of you may know or not. But here is this book right here, Take Control of Upgrading to Catalina. If you don't spend whatever it is, $12.99 before you upgrade from whatever version of the Mac operating system you have now to Catalina, it's my opinion that you ought to be committed to it and savings aside. Because for $13 or less, if you get it on a club discount or some other way.
About $9.
Yeah, I got it for $6.99 because I'm a previous customer, for example. If you don't, but even at full price, if you don't get this and read the parts that apply to you, you're crazy. It's worth it. This thing will tell you, this company, this publisher, they're independent from Apple. They won't mince words. If there's a problem or a potential problem, they'll tell you. Apple, it's marketing, they don't want to talk about the bad side. And so most of what they say is okay, but you sometimes have to ferret out these bad things yourself. So anyway, go to takecontrolbooks.com and buy this darn book, Take Control of Upgrading to Catalina, if you're going to do that or planning to do that. All right. Enough
One
of that.
last question.
My last question.
Yes.
Two.
Okay. I installed, one way of getting around all the problems with the new operating system is to partition your hard drive the way I have Mojave hard drive, it's terrible. I have Catalina on a partition, it's beautiful, but I have noticed that there is a sleep problem that is reported all over the place. My sleep problem is that I can't sleep the partition. Other people have the problem, they can't wake it up. Does anybody have a sleep problem?
I have not seen that particular issue. Now, what he said is a good suggestion, and I should have mentioned this. Thank you for reminding me that if you want to experiment with Catalina or any new operating system when it comes out, one good way to do it is to don't install it on top of your main day-to-day operating system. Put it on an external hard drive or on a second partition on the internal one, whichever works best for you, and boot to that partition or hard drive when you want to play around with it. That way you can go back to the previous version, use it for your mail and your calendar and contacts and all your important stuff, and it won't change until you're ready to change. Have worked with the new version enough that you're comfortable and you feel like all the important bumps have been worked out by Apple, then it's time to upgrade your internal main hard drive to the new operating system. That's kind of a transition way to do it, an interim or intermediate step.
Of which there are a lot of complications to, but let's
There
go.
are, but-
Let's go to the last question.
Just as an aside.
No, Ron. Sorry, Ron. Let's move on to the last question. The really last question.
Okay, it's not really a question, so you'll love this, but it's really a comment, especially since Lawrence is listening. I actually live by Lawrence's motto. Well, actually, he would get up on stage and go, "If your time is worth $1 an hour, it's time to upgrade," and that's what I would do. So, I've had enough pain. I wait.
Or
I
another-
think that will have to be the last word.
Or
Bruce,
another way of putting it is, let other people find the bugs and work them out. Don't you? be the-
everybody, thanks so much, Bruce.
Don't you be the beta tester.
And Bruce, I appreciate it very much. You know, Roy couldn't be here today, so Bruce had to hold down the Q&A on his own. Well done. Thanks, Bruce.
I do what I can. Okay, what do we do now? What's next? Announcements.
Folks, thanks everybody for coming today. And actually, Gary is here. Gary, could you just stand up? Sure. So that way, when we get to our coffee break, you can start getting to know people a little bit. And thanks so much again, Gary, for coming today. So what I wanted to quickly do, and I'm always slow to get the meeting, the Q&A graphic up. This will come back to us via Bites of Pie with Richard's graphics. Anyway, stuff to come up is the November-December schedule. So we're getting thin in meetings because of the holidays, but we'll have a Clubhouse Saturday in early November and the afternoon
John?
learners.
So I can see the screen.
Oh, sorry. So, and the November 23rd general meeting is really going to be a fun one. That will actually be in a lab of a colleague of Larry's at George Mason. And I can't wait for this. This is a professor who has a lab for AR and VR and things like that with a combination of hardware and software. And that's going to be a terrific, terrific session. And again, that's on the 23rd of November. In early December, I think you notice on the screen that we'll have a Clubhouse Saturday back at Micro Center Fairfax. Now, some of you know that we've had some meetings at the Micro Center in Fairfax, and they've really been worked out very well, and we are very pleased with how solicitous the store manager has been there to make us at home in their meeting space. We got the impression that the people on the Virginia side of the pie really wanted to have more meetings like that, but didn't think it would come up so quickly. Basically, the December 7th is a Saturday that we had planned for a Clubhouse Saturday, but the church is doing a whole church event, so we can't use it. So I've already texted Jeff, the store manager, and he's happy to have us back. We're still working out how we can do a board meeting that day. But anyway, the real save the date that I'd like you to do is on December 21st, and that's going to be back in our Clubhouse Saturday room for a wonderful Christmas and holiday party.
That'll be downstairs in this building, right?
Yes.
At the usual place.
Yeah, so I think we started doing that last year, and it was a really, really fun event. So I hope everybody will be able to come to that. Gabe, a question?
No, well, November 2nd is also APCUG's virtual technology conference. And so if part of the Clubhouse, you care to put one or the other of the program tracks up for people to watch, that's another option to make the Clubhouse more appealing.
Do you know, once before, I think, we lengthened the Clubhouse Saturday into the afternoon for people who wanted to stay and to remotely connect to the
Virtual technology conference.
Right.
Yeah, that starts at 1 and goes, I think, maybe till 4 with 2 parallel conference tracks.
Thanks for mentioning that, Gabe.
Part of my job.
Gabe, I also wanted to ask, did you have any PATOX or NCA mug announcements that you wanted to make?
We just had a meeting with Aaron Davis, and so we have another meeting coming up in November, but I forget what the presentation is, but padax.org gives you all the information.
Thanks.
And, Jonathan,
Bruce?
don't forget to tell people where they can find that information on our website, on the calendar, on the website.
Yeah, does everyone know where the calendar is on the PI homepage? That's the best way of keeping up with the events. And
If it's not updated, it will be, right? Keep checking back periodically.
I think we have November up and we'll put December up.
They made it.
Very soon. Okay, I wanted to bring everyone back last year to when we did a membership survey about communication methods. And just to refresh your memory about this, we've long had the TCS forum, which is a terrific tool for people who have been members of the PI for a long time. But it hasn't been actually updated in a long time, and it's been hard for us to try to get newer members to use it. So we were trying to see what those members who didn't or wouldn't use the TCS forum would like to use. And one of the things that came up was interactive email list. And that was a big thing. Next to that was the PI's Facebook group. And Facebook right now is still shaking out, and we're still not in a place to want to urge more people to go into Facebook who aren't already in it. But as far as the interactive email list, we have actually just started a new one just for PI members. Now, has anybody been following the news about how Yahoo Groups is slowly tailing down?
Yeah.
And so a new independent email list provider called groups.io is one that we have already migrated my local civic in Silver Spring to.
So our
And,
Cleveland Park.
we have now created an Apple Pie at groups.io email group. And all PI members will be able to subscribe to this, and this will be an interactive email list that Gabe has been asking us to have for a very long time.
What does it do?
It's just an email list.
It's the same as
In other words, right now, the announce list that we send out is only one way. It doesn't allow people to respond with their questions.
Oh, so this is two-way.
So this is a two-way.
Anybody that's a member can then send.
Correct.
It's like a listserv.
A listserv that
our-
everybody can send to.
Like a
civic
listserv.
email list.
You send to this particular email address that goes to everybody on the list.
And a nice
And they
feature of it
reply the
is
same
that-
way.
A nice feature of it is that, if Lawrence from his Western abode, is willing to participate, that'll be a way for people to interact directly with him. Not only that, but Aaron Davis has joined the NCA mug list and the POTOX list. So there's good reason to think that he would also join this list, and then would also be a way for us to interact directly with him.
Does he respond on the others?
Yes, yeah, very actively, particularly when people mention the Surface tablet.
Yeah.
Is there a charge for the PI to be a part of this list?
I'm still working that out because there's a free level of the service and a $100 or $200 a year level. And I've been trying to decide, and I'll work with the board about this, of which one makes the most sense for us. It's a freemium type arrangement, meaning free and a level up, pay, with no advertising. And this is something, the kind of model that I also think we ought to support. So, any other questions?
Yes.
We have that. We have this IO in our community, our Cleveland Park, and it's a really nice interface because the font is larger and it's very clear. And you can ask anything, and everyone can respond to your questions, and it's a really good feedback mechanism.
And
I like it better.
Like
than
Yahoo, you can set up an account and look at all the activity on the web. And what's nice on the web is that they thread all of the discussions. So you can look down the discussions and see which ones have been the most active and yes.
Is that a
Okay.
public list? Because I'm on, I just went to groups.io and I'm searching for apple pie and can't find it.
So far, the existence of the group should be public, but the messages won't be.
I can't find the group. It's not showing me the group.
So my question was gonna be, how does one sign up for it? And are we gonna limit it to members only or open it up to
Yes.
the public?
Yes,
Two
it's not,
related.
this isn't the public, this is a
Right.
benefit of membership. So it's,
So how do we all
so
get
it's gonna be
signed up?
members only. And what I'm still working out, and this is related to whether we do the free or the premium, whether it's cleaner to invite people who ask to be invited, or if there's a way to compile a list of Pi members who'd like to participate and directly add them. So we'll
So that's still under development. you
Yes.
could say.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions about?
So you're gonna notify us once we know, or once we're able to sign up or be signed up.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
So, moving on, I just wanted to make a last pitch for people to download the latest Bites of Pi from the member services page. And apart from actually reading about the most recent Pi meetings and the interesting food that I bring to our afternoon learners meetings,
I don't think, you might
There's
wanna
a-
read the caption because it's kind of small for people in the back, down under the picture.
oh, this
It's
is
so
actually.
good. I don't know if you thought of.
This is Richard's comment from several months ago. And he says, my Wi-Fi scale talks to my Tesla and now I can't stop at the donut shop.
Too bad
So
it's
how
not-
many people have downloaded the October Bites of Pi? Yeah, so go to your member services and you'll see a tab on the left for newsletters. And click on newsletters and then you can download the most recent one.
It's not here.
So we'll be doing a pie raffle. Yes?
As a new member, who do I talk to about having difficulties logging in with the ID that
Unfortunately, me, I think.
What was the question?
Sorry, what's your name?
David.
Thank you, okay.
What's the question?
Yeah, what was the question?
What was the
Trouble.
question?
Getting into the,
Repeat the question.
It's the membership backend. If Roy were here, I would point it.
Oh,
So is Cheryl here? And Len? So Cheryl and Len were actually the winners of the raffle out of the September meeting that Roy and company ran out of time to do. And so everyone, a big hand for Cheryl and Len. So I'll be getting you each getting a $25 Apple gift card. And after the coffee social, we'll run the raffle on, for today and announce that just before Gary's talk. So I'm delighted to tell everyone that Kitty is back and has prepared a wonderful coffee social for us. So let's go. Kitty, do you want to stand up so everyone? Yeah, just to actually explain this now, we are going to do a pizza lunch and a demo of the WordPress websites for afterward. So how many people will stay for the pizza lunch? Oh, Mary, do you want to count? Looks like a dozen. Okay. Thanks, everyone. So please enjoy coffee, and we'll come back at 11. Just want to be a picture.
You had all the answers.
Huh?
You had all the answers. there. You had a
They
lot
just
of them.
picked on things that I had problems with.
Particularly that
Well,
his-
the
his
mail issue.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but maybe 95% sure.
Yeah, well-
But there's good reason to turn off the automatic voting. This is stuff Lawrence told us about years ago.
Well, I think you got it, and then Dave's question.
Yeah.
So that was-
Yeah, but that's part of the issue where Apple never lets you,
John,
get rid of things.
Yes.
I don't know if I told you this before. Realize our shirts are now obsolete because it says community of Mac iOS. But on the iPad, the newest operating system isn't iOS, it's iPad. So I guess we can't keep making it hard. I mean, I'm not suggesting we change it, just, I think it's fine just the way it is.
Mojave desktop.
What is it gonna be? That's the other way to do this. I don't. Why would understand? Oh,
That's the national group
that says it all. I mean, that part, I don't see that.
So one thing you might want to do is, and so I had mentioned this to Ralph.
Oh, Ralph.
Because Ralph is in charge.
That's probably what they intended. Well,
I'll find
they never
it.
told us. You had to search around. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to delete. I tried a new app. I didn't like it. It's forever in my account. But I wanted to delete it. I got too much junk on the phone already. So I just tried.
Yes.
Yeah, I see. What was the issue back here? What was the issue about that?
I think it was just a preview of that thing.
Oh,
So probably your camera would have been fine too.
Well, they're practically identical.
Yep. Thanks for your help with it.
I'm getting spread too thin.
Well, I think of Apple, there's two or
I'm
three
not,
ways to
not
do
able
things.
to do
Discover
all the
ways,
jobs.
and you just assume that's the only way, and somebody says, well, I don't do it that way, I do it another way.
You need to spread it out. You know, I can't be the single point of failure.
Yeah.
If this continues, I won't be a high member.
I'd be a little nervous.
We really have to try that.
Or I get the name of the app wrong, and it's something else.
As simple as they can get around here. And that's mostly the membership. But, you know, I just can't do it all anymore. Yeah. You're gonna have to find some
There's stuff you don't know about that you don't
and a willingness to actually put a little of themselves in to the effort.
The good thing for you and I to do is sit down. Maybe the next time.
As far as I can see, most of this club is cheap entertainment. If they don't seem to learn anything, I've been listening to the same questions and answers for 10 years.
I'm not sure that that's something we're going to do.
I doubt it. But
But what I would like to hear from you on another time when I'm doing this,
There.
yeah, is,
Too much for one person.
right, is what would you like to continue to do? What,
I wanted to get here at 9 o'clock,
What-
set up my camera.
what's it?
Don't forget. Basically,
So, you
20
know,
years I was a photographer.
so doing the camera work, you like
Well, I'm used to doing that.
Mhm.
I'm comfortable doing that as long as I'm not pulled in a couple other directions to accomplish everybody else's goals. And my knees are giving out, and I don't want to run the tape.
Right, right. So in the webcam, how can I put a photo instead of the?
Yeah. Well, you understand what I'm talking about now. See that picture?
Yeah.
That's because the camera is high and central to that, and back when you were sending, well, I guess Lawrence can see everybody now.
Right.
And when you use it for a remote presenter, then they can see when a hand goes up. Like that.
So when Gary is talking, is there a way we can include him in the picture?
No. The only way you could do that is if you have a fancy device to drop them in here. It's a choice. You get that feed or you get that feed. And you don't have that feed set up. I mean, Dante.
Excuse me, Dale. Right now, I'm trying to change this to something while the coffee is going on.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave you stew for a while.
Yeah. Thanks.
John, here's my handout. I'll put these on people's chairs.
Oh, great. Thanks, Gary. What? Ask Mary.
Hi, I'm Jim Carr. I haven't come to a meeting in a long time, but it's a legend.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Diana.
I'm sorry.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
The chart that showed the communications.
Yeah.
Can I see that?
Yes. was, I think, last November that I showed this at a meeting about
Everything you described was very earlier this year.
Do you remember the poll?
How have you been?
Good.
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 Great. So the next part's about the web.
Yeah. WordPress.
Jonathan, I just want to catch up with you. Mindy Nash. Roy helped me last week. Trying to get back onto the website via contact because I had renewed late and I got kicked out of the database or whatnot.
Did that finally end up?
Yes, Roy, I was here last, and I got your email that you were out of the country, so fine. But Roy helped me last week,
Oh,
and then
wonderful.
within about a week or two, it finally worked.
Oh, good.
So
Thanks so
good
much.
to go. Well, thanks. I realize, hey, it's volunteer, and I said that right up front. I get it. I totally get it. And
That's so nice of you. I joke about this, that with businesses, the most annoying thing is when they make a start to use the payment. Has wonderful employer members.
yes.
So it's a shame we make it hard, you know?
Yeah, right. But he went to the database. Then he said, "Are you a new member?" And I'm like, "Heck no! I've been a member since the days you used to meet at Annandale campus."
Well, ironically,
So,
right now, new member.
okay, yeah. Well, I know the new guy that said he can't get on. So he's actually a friend. So
Thanks, Mindy.
Yes, thanks for your help.
Timing. Like, okay.
Yeah.